All right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. As usual, I have with me Mr. Sean Raiz, the king of branding and positioning. And we're going to talk today about billion-dollar brands. Of course, guys, this is 100% live. If you have any questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. Also, put your flames in the chat. Let us know where you're listening in from. So Sean, are you ready? Are you present? I think Sean might actually be on Instagram right now.
I'm
Are you?
always ready. Yes, I was doing the IG intro, but I'm always ready. Always. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's talk about it. Phenomenal morning.
Yes, sir. Phenomenal morning. So how are things looking in your part of the world?
Very productive. Very productive. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't hear the noise that I used to. It's not noisy, right? It's not as noisy as it used to be. I think that's due to clarity, one, and branding, two. Right. So listen, when you brand you and not what you do, guys, you will not have to be in the same predicament. I don't know what your predicament is right now. I don't know if you're absolutely like living your best life right now. I don't know what that looks like for you. But one thing I do know is that when you brand you and not what you do, you'll be able to create your own reality. So just think about that. Creating your ideal life and then the business that supports that. That's your brand. That's your brand. That's who you are. That's what you wake up to every morning. Just think about that. You wake up to you every morning. So if you're not living your best life, shift some things. And I promise you, it begins with that brand. All day, 100%.
Very nice. I want to say a quick good morning to everybody looking on IG. I think we have LinkedIn in the house as well. So shout out to LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, we are live. Let's go.
I want to open up by saying, asking if anybody has any questions, number one. So, Sean, does anybody on your IG, do they have any questions? Let's ask them if they have any questions.
Now, right now, we've asked, yes. Any questions you have, just put it in the chat, guys. If you see me look up and look down, if I look up, that's because I'm coming to you on StreamYard, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If I look down, that's because I'm working with IG as well. So come on, let's get to it. Any questions you have, put them in the chat. Branding and business building.
Yes, sir. So I believe we're actually going to dive more into the billion-dollar brand today. But before we even get into that, we are due for a short break. So I don't want to get into the meat of it just yet, Sean. I want to save that for after the break. But guys, trust me, it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal show. Of course, if you have any questions, if you don't have a question, the question should be, what is the question that I'm not asking that I need to ask? That's I tell every time I coach, I tell the students this, like, if you're not asking a question, that means you don't know what question to ask. It could be the only reason, right? Either you have a question, you know what to ask, but sometimes people just don't know what to ask, Sean, because they have no context. So then their question should be, what is the question that I'm not asking that I need to be asking?
I always ask that. I always ask that of people. What is the question that I don't even know to ask? I've done that since I can remember. What is the question? I don't know the question to ask. What question should I be asking that I don't know to ask? So listen, guys, if you're watching, if you're tuning in, ask a question. And if you don't know the question to ask, just say that. Tell us where you are, what you're doing in your business. Let us know where you're calling in from, looking in from, and where you're at in your business, where you're at in your brand. How are things for you? Is it absolutely phenomenal, or is it a little bit hurt? Anyway, let's go to the break.
I said Sean Raiz. I'm proud. That's Sean Raiz. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's get to it. What's the first one?
The first question that I have is basically, how do you package your expertise? A lot of people ask me that question. How do you go about packaging your expertise when building a $1 billion brand? Because that is what we're talking about, right? The free so education, experience, expertise. How does one package their expertise? So I have, let's imagine I have, let's say 15 years in a particular field. I'm an expert. The question is, how do I package that and present that to the market?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your skill is in demand, right? You want to make sure that your skill is in demand. Sometimes you might want to brush up on whatever that skill is. So it depends on how you're positioning yourself. So every skill, so let me say it this way, skills are not created equal. Skills are not created equal. So it depends on where you're at, what you're doing, what your outcomes are, what your ideal audience is, where they're at. It depends on that. It's a variable. So every brand is not created equal. And every ideal client audience works differently. So IG, for instance, on IG, you have to go live. That's IG, absolutely imperative. When you position it, you package it, you speak to them live. On LinkedIn, on Twitter, let's say, on Twitter, they just started the live connect. So you can't even elaborate long. It has to be short. So how do you package yourself? How do you position yourself there? One thing about your presentation, always ultra sophisticated, ultra professional. We taught change your attire to match your desire in Branded Like a Leader, and you absolutely must. If you don't look the part, you'll never get the part. Every time somebody sees you, it's an audition. Every time somebody sees you, you're auditioning. And if you're auditioning for the part that you want, you have to think about, where do I really want? Because right now, guys, listen, everybody watching this, you are where you auditioned for. I don't know whether you got the part, you have a part. Think about your relationships, you have a part. Think about your health, you have a part. That's the part that you showed up for. That's the part that you put on, you adorned yourself for the part that you have. And if you want a different part in life, if you want to add a 0 to your number, if you want to make more money, if you want more clients, you have to position yourself a little bit differently. So professionally, you have to package yourself professionally. And then you also have to think about your market. Who are you marketing to? Who are you marketing to? One of my mentors, Eric Thomas. So when I say professional, I don't mean suit and tie. Tailored to your audience, tailored to your ideal audience. His audience is a little bit different. So for him, professional presence and the way he shows up is phenomenal for the audience that he serves. T-shirt, fitted cap, little, cocked to the side a little bit. Like, that's his audience. And nobody can take that away from a multi-million-dollar brand. Multi-million-dollar brand, billionaire brand in the making all day. What is your audience? You have to have a target. That's why I always say clarity first. If you don't have clarity, then you're already where you're trying to go. And if you look around and you don't like where you're at, and you like some more zeros in the back of your bank account, you need to look at it again. You need to look at it again. Shift that.
Definitely. You sort of answered my next question. So
Did
when you
I?
said when you said professionally, my next question was going to be for the people looking, because we've worked with multiple kinds of people. People who are, let's say, yoga instructors, people who are dance instructors,
That's right.
people people who don't necessarily adorn themselves in the way that we do. So they don't necessarily have a suit and tie.
So
They
let
don't
me
have
say
the
this let me say this real quick, Junior.
right.
We got Dawn Aesthetic, right? On IG. Dawn Aesthetic. And it looks like Aesthetic King, right? So obviously from the name, you work out and you're selling a fitness brand. Your brand is a fitness brand. Now, sometimes that package, when you package that, if you're selling abs, you got to show abs. You got to show abs. You can't, it wouldn't fit. If Don Aesthetic King came on looking like me with a suit and tie on, it wouldn't match. It wouldn't match. How could he sell when people can't see what you're selling? So watch this. Let me say it again. People don't buy what you say. They buy what they see. So you have to show them what they're getting. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's $1 billion brand. P90X. That's $1 billion brand. Phenomenal brand. But you got to see the athletes. You got to see what they look like. Peloton. Nobody wants to be led by somebody who doesn't look the part. They're not aesthetic. They're a little bit, their weight is a little bit like Weight Watchers and Peloton are two different things. And you have to brand yourself the right way. So if you're not branded tailored to your audience, and if you're not branded phenomenally and you don't appear professional, it's just not going to work. You might get some money, but you'll never get the kind of money that you could make if you tailor your presentation and your brand to your audience.
100%. So how does somebody know when they have a winner? And let me give you some context. So somebody's working at a job in a particular niche, let's say 20 years. They want to step out and move into business. They come up with a business idea. They say, I think I could package my expertise by doing this.
Oh, okay.
How do they know when they found a winner? A winner meaning a winning service or a winning product?
You got to get to the market, man. You got to get to the market. So marketing is senior to the sale. You have to get to the market. You got to test it. You got to know if people will buy it. The best way to test something is to sell it. Market it and then sell it. If you can't get a sale, then you don't have a winner. Like if it's good, people are going to buy it. And when I say people are going to buy it, they're not going to vote with that motivational nonsense. They're not going to say, "Yeah, that's a great idea. You should do that." Never, ever, ever seek 6-7 figure advice from 5-figure earners. Usually, your circle is not custom fitted to success. The people in your circle are not the ones that are going to elevate you and push you to success unless you're in a circle with multiple 6 and 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners, and above. The circle of, they call it the clown house, right? The clown house, the circus. If you're in the circus and you want advice on how to build a business, you don't ask people inside of the circus how to build a business. You got to get outside of the circus and go to Wall Street or something and ask a businessman, how do you start a business? Ask a businesswoman, someone with a business, how do you start a business? The way that you know you have a winner is when you have cash. When someone is paying cash for what you have. If you haven't made a sale, don't put any money into it. Don't put any, as a matter of fact, listen, honestly, the money that you put into your business should come from the success of your business. I'm gonna say that again. The money that so people ask me, just for a little bit of a background, Junior. People ask me, what CRM should I use? What CRM should I use? What web host should I use? And I'm saying to them, have you made a sale yet? And they say, no, I'm just trying to get it all correct. I'm just trying to get it all perfect before I. And I'm like, there is no before you, right? Your budget Your budget in your business should be based on the success of your branding and your marketing. If you're not making any money, then why are you trying? If you don't have any clients, if you don't have any email list, what do you need a CRM for? You don't. You need to get into the market. This is, you know what this is? This is called, these are different pathways to procrastination. Preparation and procrastination are very similar. When people say I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready, and I'm trying to get everything prepared, and I just want it to be perfect. What do they say? They say, "Oh well, when I start doing something, I give my all. I give 100%." You need to give 100% from the very beginning. That's how you're going to get the results. And it's from trial and error that you find out if you have a winner. That's it. Don't ask opinions. What do you think about this? Ask, will you buy this? Will you buy this? Will you buy this? And when people start buying, you know you got something. No other way. No other way.
That's a great answer. And I love that answer because it's true. It's really and truly the only thing I tell people, unless it's in the bank account, it's not real. It's only real when the money comes in, People vote with their dollars. People vote with their dollars. And that's typically how they show support in our economy, right? So I want you to talk about speed to market, because there's another element of that. So we just mentioned taking it to market, but what is the importance of speed to market when it comes to that? Because some people might listen to this and they might say,
Speed
well,
is everything.
I'm preparing to take this. I'm
Speed,
about to launch in the next 30 days or something, right?
speed is everything. Do not wait 2 seconds to get into the market. Get into the market, make a mess, make mistakes. That's how you learn. When I got into college, I didn't know if I was going to be successful. I had no clue. I hadn't been in school for a long time. I jumped in and I found my feeding. I found my footing. It's the same thing with swimming. You got to jump in to find out how to swim. You can't find out how to swim in knee deep water. It'll never work. It's the same thing in business. You have to jump in. The same thing you just asked me, how do I know if I have a winner? How do you know you have a winner if you don't take it to the market? You'll never know if you have a winner. You'll absolutely never know. Speed to market is everything. People say perfection. I want to get it perfect. I try to do things 100%. Listen, jump in 100%. Just move. Money follows movement. It's not the other way around. People always say this. They're like, oh, well, Sean, when I get this money, then I'll. Brian Tracy says something about the Isle of Then. The Isle of Then never comes. That's not where you want your boat to stop, because boats get marooned there in the Isle of Then, and they never leave from the Isle of Then. So don't worry about then Isle. What you want to do is move immediately now, as soon as you have the idea, and you find out which ones are successful, you find out which ones are not. That's it. If you wait and procrastinate and hem and haw, you're already there. Welcome to the life that you've created. Welcome to then Isle. You're there right now.
Sean, is there a balance in that? So we may have some people listening, right? That may be saying, well, what does he mean? Just put it out. What if it's not good? What if I'm putting out an
Find
inferior
out
product?
whether you
Is
find
there,
out
is there a balance in that?
you find out whether or not it's good when you go. That's the way it works. So listen, when I first went live, I just went live. It wasn't good. The content was good. The context was wrong. You want to find out, you want to know how bad the context was? A gentleman on a Facebook Live that I was doing said to me, Sean, it's great what you're doing, but we can't see the whiteboard. He said, you have to turn your phone around. He instructed me. He corrected me in the comments. Now, this is me going live. 40 plus. This is me going live. 40 plus don't have a clue what I'm doing. Just got on Facebook, go live to help people. And he's like, Sean, The content that you're giving is great. However, we can't see what you're writing on the screen because you have to turn your phone around. When you turn your phone around, we'll be able to read it straight. Now, if I would have waited to try to figure everything out, I would not have went live and I would not have gotten the correction that I needed. The market will correct you. The market will correct you. The market will perfect you. But you've got to be in the market to get corrected and get perfected. If you don't get into the market, then again, you're already there. All the money that you're making is all the money that you're going to make. You get better at something by applying yourself. I want to shout out, I am Devin Rodriguez and Thornhill Matthew Krishy on IG. We've got Liz, we got Melissa. Listen, you've got to get busy to get corrected. If you're not in the marketplace, then you're already where you're trying to go. The market will correct you. I will correct you. People will correct you in the marketplace. Don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to your family because they don't know business. If they did, they'd be on this side of it. They just don't. They're consumers like yourself. Don't let consumers tell you how to produce something of immense value. Ask consumers whether they'll buy what you're producing. That's how they can tell you that it's of immense value. Nothing else counts.
Most definitely. And I want to add something to that. Something that we say in marketing. We say marketing is a fancy word for testing.
Good.
Marketing is a fancy word for testing. So when we market, we literally test. We test. So we have a hypothesis, we investigate, and we find out the truth. That's it.
Right.
That's what marketing is about. So we
That's it.
test. So my question is now I'm a marketer. Most people are not marketers. So for the benefit of the people listening, right?
Hold on. You just said something.
They're not conscious. They're not consciously
Kimberly is
marketing.
on Kimberly is on IG as well. If you're not a marketer, you're not in business.
Most
If
people are
you're
not in business, Sean.
if you're not a marketer, you're not in business. That's just how it is. Like if you're not marketing, how are people finding out about you? So you are the brand. The way people find out is through marketing. If you're not marketing, then you're the best kept secret. And if you're the best kept secret, that means you're not getting paid. Most people are extremely phenomenal at what they could be doing, but they don't have the confidence to reveal their competence. So they're subjecting their competence or donating their competence to someone else's confidence. Let me show you what I mean. Somebody somewhere created the business that you're going to right now. If you're going to work right now, somebody somewhere created that business. Somebody had the confidence to begin a business, to start a business, and you find yourself there with your competence. If you had the confidence, then you could take your competence to the market the same way that person did and get 10 times the value or 10 times the paycheck. But when you don't have the competence, when you don't have the confidence, you subject your competence to someone else's confidence.
I definitely agree with that. And that's actually a little bit of what I was getting into. You know, for people who don't have a marketing background, right? Because everybody's a marketer, they're in business. Their mindset, like what should the mindset be around marketing? And when I say mindset, I mean what is the right frame of thinking? How should they think about things? Because listen, if you've never written copy, if you've never sold anything in your life, if you've never marketed anything in your life, which is arguable, right?
Yes.
What
Yes.
is the right mindset that somebody should have?
Oh man, this is a really good question, right? And it boils down to this when it comes to mindset. Who do you love? Who do you love? Honestly, like who do you get up and go to work for? Who do you do what you do for? Because if you love the people that you do what you do for, it will make a difference if you make a mess. You'll be willing to make the mistakes if you love the people that you do it for. You won't have to have perfect copy to be authentic. When I went live, I didn't have perfect copy. When I went live, I didn't have the perfect strategy. When I went live, I wasn't thinking about how my tie was. I don't even know if I had one on when I first started going live. But how is my suit laid? It didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was the people that I was doing it for. And because I was doing it for people that I love and for the love of the people that I serve, my message was authentic and it resonated. The problem is when you try to paint yourself perfectly. That's the problem. When you try to present yourself as someone that you're not, or when you try to look like Sean Bryce, or when you try to, what does I'm thinking of another influencer. When you do the hand movement that Tony Robbins does, when you're doing the thing that Tony Robbins does, you're losing people because you're no longer authentic. When you're more comfortable in a suit and tie, but you're wearing a t-shirt and putting on a fitted cap like Eric Thomas and not being authentic, trying to resonate with that audience, that's when you lose people. When you think about the people that you love and you're doing it for the people that you have to provide for, that you want to serve, then you're less preoccupied with the perfection of the pronunciation of your enunciated words. And you come off, when you understand, when you try to perfect, you lose people, you push people away. But when you're in love with the audience that you serve, that's why you have to know who your ideal client is, who your ideal audience is. You got to know what you're trying to give them, and you got to know the people that you do it for, man. That's why I always say turn your why into a who, and you'll be phenomenal at what you do. People got the whole why thing mixed up. What's your why? Well, I want to make more money. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. That's pretty selfish. When it's all about you, it's pretty selfish. When it's all about you, it's not going to go too far. You'll never know what you need for the people that you love when it's all about you. And you'll understand that $1 million isn't any money. So that's why we talk about billion-dollar branding, because $1 million really isn't a lot of money. But if you're selfish and you're only thinking about you, then you say, when I get to six figures. And then if you make it to six figures, you say, well, if I make it to $250,000, if I make it to $250,000, then I'll be. Remember, then people are stranded on the Isle of then. Instead of thinking now with what's most important for the children that they have and for the people in their life that they love and that they're supposed to be serving. When your service turns from inward, outward, the game changes. The game changes completely. You won't be worried about it. Do I look perfect? Do I sound perfect? Your presence will become more executive the more service that you give, because you'll have an informed process. You understand? Your success will inform
Right.
the process, and then you'll be able to tweak and pop and get better as you go.
Right. Now that right there, Sean, I wanted to ask you about that because at some point there has to be some kind of balance, right? So it's one thing to get excited and go live or to just go live, just for going live sake. But at some point, so we've seen this before. Some people, they just go live just to go live. They
Of course.
don't they don't assess, they don't stop at some point to assess, okay, what am I doing? Is it working? Is it not working? What can I learn? What are people saying in the comments? How can I adjust the content? Like there has to be some kind of balance between just doing it and actually sitting down and thinking, like, what am I actually doing here? That's the research part. So I want to make sure that we covered that. So people don't think that we just say, hey guys, just go live and whatever happens, happens. You're just gonna make $1 million just from just going live. No, you have to have an informed process. So when
Yes.
you go live, you take the data, right? You take the information that people are giving you, the perspective, the comments, whatever it may be, and then you tweak your process, you tweak your procedure, you tweak what you do, and then you go at it again. So there has to be a nice balance between just doing it and actually thinking about it. Just
Let me
wanted
give
to
a
put that
shout
in
out
there.
to let me give a shout out to Charmaine Q Harrison, Pete Paul 7509 on IG. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm hearing everything that you're saying as far as the research. That's what makes it evidence-based, guys. We use the term evidence-based all the time. But the reason and the how we are able to use the term evidence-based is called a feedback loop. It's a feedback loop. We're constantly surveying our clients. We're constantly surveying the audience. We're constantly seeing what the value is and how it's perceived. If you're not getting feedback, if you're not getting an informed process, that's like driving blind.
Yes, it
Cars
is.
have sensors, right? Cars have sensors. If you're backing up, cars have sensors. So the smart cars will tell you that as you start getting close to things, it'll go and that'll let you know to stop. Right? That'll let you know to stop and change your direction. If you're not getting information on your process, if you're not getting in the crowd, so listen to this. I can remember doing multiple events and speaking on stage, and people would ask me, Sean, why do you get off stage? Why do you walk around? And I say, I got to touch the people. I got to get an informed process. It's hard when there's a partition, when there's a divider between yourself as the presenter and the audience. There's a huge divide. So just to the point that I'm trying to make, as soon as COVID shut down and we were able to come in each other's company, we did the breakfast with we did the MBM Myrtle Beach Mastermind. We had to get in proximity with the people. We hadn't been able to come together because of restrictions that did not allow us to really travel and come together comfortably and healthfully. So as soon as we were able to, I said, no, let's come together. And we came together. Guys, you got to get into the mix. You got to find out what's going on in the comments. You got to inform your process. You got to move with the people, become one with the people. If you're separated from the people that you work with and for, then you don't really know. Your process is uninformed. You're driving blindly and you're driving wildly. And that's a gap. That's a gap. And the only way you close that gap is by clear, intentional communication and getting the feedback. The feedback is more valuable than $1 million. The feedback is more valuable than $1 million because if I was to ask you, would you rather have $1 million or the feedback of your audience? Most people would say, give me $1 million. But if you don't have the feedback of your audience, that's the only $1 million you're going to get.
True. Guys, we are actually due for a short break, so we're going to be taking that break now. When we come back, more about the $1 billion brand. Stay tuned.
Write that down. If you don't have the feedback from your audience, that's the only $1 million you're going to make. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
You know, there's nothing that you cannot overcome in this world except that which you refuse to fight. When I say brand, when I say brand and authenticity and being the brand, you gotta know your story. You gotta know your story, you gotta own your story, and you gotta be the champion of your story. It's very important that we control our narrative. It's very important that we don't allow anyone else to control our narrative, because when they control our narrative, they control our freedom. They control our freedom and our future. I don't just want it for me, I want it for everybody. It can happen, and it can happen for you, especially when you get branded like a leader. That's like an archive. That's like an archive video. All right, guys, let me you might not know this, but that's like an archive video. That if you see who I'm embracing, that's one of my mentors, Eric Thomas, right? So during the 2020, early 2020, 2019, real like just so you understand, I was a consultant with inside of organizations. And when the epidemic situation took place, that's when I left. That's when I left. And what you're watching there is a culmination of all the trainings that I did while I was there on building this business. So when you see me on the whiteboard drawing it out, I was literally sketching out the communication, the programs, the community. I was sketching out the plan. And then as you see me pulling off, that's the last time that I was there at a formal organization. But watch this. It wouldn't have happened without the informed process, because I went live before that. I started going live before that and building a community. And it was based on the feedback that I got that I was able to improve my process and do it better. I would have never known to turn the camera around if I wasn't told. I just want you to understand that. Like on IG, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, it's a real thing. I would not have been able to improve this business had I not got informed feedback, which means I did not wait to present. I didn't wait for permission. A lot of you guys are waiting for permission to serve. Just serve. Get out there. Now, I'm from Harlem, right? I'm from Harlem, where on 125th Street, if you ever been to New York and you ever come to Harlem, Harlem is like the epicenter of business, right? And 125th is like the epicenter of Harlem. So when you come up and down 125th Street, you see people out there with their tables and their wares, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's books, whether it's fragrances, whether it's food. Everybody's out there in an open air kind of bazaar. Almost like a flea market in California, something like that. A bazaar. Imagine a mall. Imagine an open air mall with no circuit, with no ceiling and no walls. Well, that's what the internet is. The internet is an open mall. It's an open air mall. And instead of getting a table and setting your value out, you're just on the sidelines coming to spend your money and only be a consumer instead of a producer. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's super confidence or lack of fear, but one way or another, for you to succeed in your business, for you to succeed in your life, you're going to have to leave agoraphobia behind. Agoraphobia is the fear of the outdoors. In order for you to get a job, you have to leave fear. You have to be able to present. You got to be able to put your resume out there. You got to be able to get out there and have interviews and put yourself out there. And that's what a lot of times I hear. I'm scared to put myself out there, Sean. I don't really know how to, I can't talk like you. I'm not comfortable talking like you. When I began talking, I didn't talk like me either. When I began talking, I didn't talk like me either. Just think about that.
Now, Sean, you said a particular word there that's super powerful, super important, and I think we sort of just brushed over that, right? You said the word community.
Yes.
Now, how important is a community when building a brand?
Wow.
How important is a community? Let's define like exactly what is a community, number one. So what is a community in the context that we're talking about? And how important is a community when it comes to building a brand? Can a brand exist without a community? I'm curious.
I love what you're saying. But you asked me 3 questions.
Yes.
So I hope you remember them, because I might not. The first question you asked is, what is a community?
It's the community. Yes.
So a community is a group of people who come together for one common goal. That's a community. A community is people who come together for one common goal. If not, it's just a bunch of people, like an open air market. And sadly, that's a lot of our so-called communities. There's no real community. They say it takes a nation or a village to raise a child. And sometimes when you go into certain neighborhoods, you see that the children are a little bit off. That's because everybody lives together and there's a lot of people, but there's no community. So community takes a spirit. It requires a spirit. So it's a group of people who come together with a spirit to get something done. That's number one. The second question was what? First one was, what is a community? And then,
how important is a community when it comes to building a brand?
How important is a community? Well, without community, you don't have support. So let me say it this way. How important is oxygen for your body? How important is oxygen for your life? As a child, how important is our parents to your survival and to your growth and development? If you don't have the supportive structures around, then anger sets in, resentment sets in, apathy sets in. You live in a silo, you're antisocial. Community is everything. Honestly, community is everything. It's protective, it's supportive, it's reliable, it's durable. Things happen. So that's the first thing that we created when we came together, was community. We created the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community before we did the Branded Like a Leader program. As a matter of fact, the Branded Like a Leader program came from the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community. If we didn't have the community, I would have never came up with the program. It was based on the feedback in the community that gave me the idea and the spirit and the purpose and the promise of creating the program. There's no program without community. Why would you do it? Why would you create a program? And that's what a lot of people are doing now too. They're doing it's like an inverted process. This is the correct process on its head, completely upside down. People say, I'm going to create a course. I'm going to create a course. I'm going to create a course. How are you going to create a course if you don't know who to sell it to and what they want? No informed process. So a lot of people got courses. A lot of people wrote books, and now they can't sell them because nobody wants them. Because they didn't go to the community first and ask, what do you want? Now, let me just give you an example on how deep this is and how simple it is at the same time. Sometimes my wife will surprise me, especially if I'm on the road. If I'm on the road and I'm coming back home, sometimes I'll open the door and there'll be a certain smell. I'll be like, oh, let's go. Blackened salmon, But more times than not, my wife will come and ask me, what do you want for dinner? And because she asked me what I want, I'm able to say whiting, flounder, salmon. So your audience wants to know. You can't just surprise your audience all the time. What if you get it wrong? What if you spend thousands and thousands of dollars to put something together? You spend thousands and thousands of hours to put. Okay, let me give you the most credible, evidence-based proof of what I'm saying. How many people went and got a degree that they can't get a job for? How many people spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, and thousands of dollars, and hours to go along with it, wrote papers, studied at night, did a whole bunch of work. Now they're in debt just to have a degree that has no value in the marketplace. So let me tell you what I did, because I started off on that path. I started off on that uninformed path. I just said, I want to help people. Let me get into college. I want to help people. I want a job. Let me get into college. Then I started, this is proven. I promise you, this is evidence-based. My life is evidence-based. I have an associate's degree in human services because I wanted to help people. So, Junior, human services is the conglomerate, eclectic mixture of services for people. Social services comes from human services. So it's psychology 101. I even took nursing classes 101. I took criminology 101. I took all of these 101s. So I was about to become a master at being a generalist.
Mm.
I was about to be a generalist. You understand? A
Yep.
master of none. I was about to be a master of none. So when you go to get a job with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree of human services, people don't know your specific discipline. And that's why they have what they call a specialization or an emphasis area where you mainly focused, a focus area. So you might have a master's degree in human services with a focus in psychology, but that's not a master's in psychology. So you'll get paid, but you won't get paid as if you got a bachelor's or a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. So what I did, I wanted to help serve the people. Just pay attention, guys. I hope you're learning something. This is branding. This is branding, and this is evidence-based, and this is how we built the business, how I built me before I built the business. I said, okay, who do I want to be? Who do I love? I love my children. I love my wife. Okay. How am I going to take care of them to the most highest degree, as well as do what I need to do and what I want to do for the people that I want to serve? Okay. Quality of life, high paying position. I looked at the pay grades, Junior. I looked at the pay grades. What are the pay grades? In human services, the social services that I was doing, they don't really value that population. So the income level after 20 years was like $60,000, $65,000 after 20 years of service. I already, at that point, I was probably at about 60K or leaning towards 60K in debt, in college debt. So I said, okay, that doesn't make sense at all. And I don't want to be at $30,000, $40,000 my entire life. I don't want to be at $40,000 tomorrow. So what do I need to do? I need to take a different emphasis area. And I looked at the crucial numbers. So it was 3 of them: psychologist, psychiatrist, and industrial and organizational psychologist. So pay attention, guys, because this is about who you want to be and how you want to do it. The psychologist dispenses the drugs that the psychiatrist prescribes. I'm from Harlem. If I want to sell drugs, I'll just go back to 145th Street. I don't need a college degree to do that. I swear against that. That's not what I want to be around. And number 3 was industrial and organizational psychology, the science and motivation of high performance individuals within organizations. And it started. So like I said, the social services ended after 20 years at 60K. The industrial and organizational psychologist started at $89,000. I said, that's me. I said, that's me, because I want to help people to perform at a higher degree. I want to help people perform at a higher degree. It's going to allow me to get the quality of life that I need for my family to be able to serve the people that I want to serve to the highest degree. That's called an informed process. That's called doing the research. That's called the feedback loop from the marketplace. Not only did I do that, Junior, to edify it and to make it evidence-based, I started looking at job opportunities to verify the information. And I verified the information by learning what the job opportunities were, and that industrial and organizational psychologists were being paid as human resource directors and personnel management and talent procurement and management within organizations. And their salary started around $102,000 a year. I said, okay, I can do that. What you guys are doing is you're just saying, okay, I see Sean do courses, so I'm gonna do a course. Or I see Eric Thomas speaks, so I'm a speaker. I see Tony Robbins does events, I'm going to do events. It's not what you think. You got to get a little bit more granular. You got to get a little bit more foundational. You got to do a little bit more research, and you got to find out from your audience what they want before you create it. All audiences are not created equal. So we got Charmaine Q. Harrison on. I don't know what platform she's on, but she's here, right? So watch this. Charmaine Q. Harrison does health and wellness. I do branding and marketing. So Charmaine Q. Harris knows everything about health and wellness, but she tries to do a course on branding and marketing and doesn't have the qualifications. Or if I try to do a course on juicing, it's not going to work. If I see Charmaine Q. Harrison getting money doing juicing and gut health and intestinal health and I turn around and say, "Ooh, she getting it. I'm going to do a course on intestinal health and gut health and colon cleansing," I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because I'm not going to my market. I'm not living up to my brand. It's not authentic. It's not genuine, and it's not going to make money, nor is it going to make sense.
100%. So, guys, we are due for a short break. We will be back very soon after this. Stay tuned.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're... I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. You know something, Junior? Before we went to the break, I was thinking about something, because I'm always talking with the people. That's something I guess people don't know because I don't do it live, but I went live earlier yesterday, as a matter of fact, with somebody that I was talking to, and just to let them see the conversation and the kind of dialogue that we had. But I'm always speaking to people. So I was speaking to a gentleman that I've known for about 4 years. We've known of each other in the industry, but we never really spoke to each other. So I reached out to him so we could initiate dialogue. So this is someone that the market would see as a competitor, or, we're on different sides of the seaboard. He's working. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about Terrell Muhammad. Phenomenal brother. You see him sometimes. He got the red tie, Terrell Muhammad has King's Accountability Group, and it's a phenomenal platform for men who have been through things, and they're building men. They're building a community of men. I'm over here on the Eastern Seaboard building the Leadership Leverage, executive coaching community, helping brands brand themselves so they can make their yearly income monthly, monthly income weekly, weekly income daily. I help leaders become brands and add a 0 to their number. That's my platform. His platform is over there, King's Accountability Group, helping men to perfect themselves and be better men, husbands, spouses. Now, you would think we're in what you perceive to be a crowded marketplace. Trust me, it's not crowded at the top. It's not crowded at the top, right? You would also say men can't get along. That's wrong. Not true. You would also say Sean might be a little bit abrasive, a little bit rough around the edges, a little bit aggressive. He's from Harlem. Trust me when I tell you, I'm super humble.
So I reached out to him so that we could get on the call. So we get on the call and I'm talking to him. I said, let me introduce myself because my reputation may precede me. I love to see brothers, I love to see Black brothers doing their thing and building phenomenal businesses. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. He said, well, Sean, I think you got one of the strongest platforms that exist when it comes to branding and marketing. So we actually got a date together where I'm going to go speak, right, for that platform. And I'm sure there'll be something that we can cross collateralize and he can come over here and speak for my audience. This is the thing, guys. If you're not speaking and communicating within your audience, then you're not growing. You don't even know what possibilities exist if you're not speaking. If you know, when I say closed mouth don't get fed, cat got your tongue. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. You know, sometimes I always say this too, like we grown, when I say like I'm just a kid from Harlem, we are older children. We still young at heart. And sometimes I like to look at human dynamics and I'll go into a kindergarten class or I'll look at some kid videos and you'll see people over there playing by themselves in silos by themselves with their blocks or whatever and their little toys. And this group is over there with their little toys. Guys, when you bring it all into the center of the room, that's when community takes place. And everybody has so much more fun. And everybody gets an informed process, and then we can actually build something together better than whatever we could build on our own. Stop being separate from your people. Stop being afraid of your people. Your people will inform your process. If I did not get into the market, if I did not ask for feedback, if I didn't give compliments, if my process wasn't informed, I'd still be going to a job 9 to 5, man, looking for validation and hoping I got a promotion and a paycheck. Stop playing games. The power's in the people. Get an informed process. You can't build a brand and you don't have a brand if nobody knows you.
That's right. And you know, Sean, I always say the new currency is collaboration. So collaboration is a new currency.
Shout out to YB. Shout out to YB Youngblood. Rob YB Youngblood. I believe that's the name of his book. I believe that's the name of their new book. YB Youngblood, Marshall Fox, phenomenal individuals, community, good brothers, put together a phenomenal book called, I think it's Collaboration is the New Community, or no, Collaboration is the New Currency.
Oh yeah, that's the name of the book.
Currency, yeah, that's the name of the book.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had no idea. Shout out to YB.
And you should buy it. And you should buy it. Anybody watching this, go ahead, buy it. Support YB. He's a good brother. Support Marshall Fox. He's a good brother. Like, these are all good people. But there has to be a sense of community. And that's why I reached out to the brother so we could have a conversation. I could introduce myself because I'm very busy. And because I'm very busy, people might think that I'm not, relatable or sociable. That's not the case. I'm just building something. But any opportunity we have to build something together, let's build it together. I'm all about that life. I'm all about that life. Matter of fact, before we go to the break or before we close down, I'm going to show you the video again of me and Eric Thomas on stage together. Like, that's my brother. These are, you got to be informed. You can't come out of a vacuum. You got to get associated to somebody with a platform that is well known and does what they do to a phenomenal level and have success. Success begets success. Loneliness and being alone only begets loneliness and being alone. That's not brand. I think we'll end on that note.
100%.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.
You know, there's nothing that you cannot overcome in this world except that which you refuse to fight. When I say brand, when I say brand and authenticity and being the brand, you gotta know your story. You gotta know your story. You gotta own your story, and you gotta be the champion of your story. It's very important that we control our narrative. It's very important that we don't allow anyone else to control our narrative, because when they control our narrative, they control our freedom. They control our freedom and our future. I don't just want it for me, I want it for everybody. It can happen, and it can happen for you, especially when you get branded like a leader.